Welcome, listeners, to Embracing Power and Potential, your go-to podcast where we travel through the realms of personal growth, mindset mastery, and fear-conquering strategies to help achieve your greatest desires. I'm your host, Portia, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this transformative experience. If you're ready to unleash your authentic power and elevate your life, you're in the right place. Join me and our special guests as we embark on conversations that will broaden your horizons and enrich your journey. So, sit back and immerse yourself in these unmatched discussions. It's time to expand your mind and your life. Hello, welcome back to an episode of Embracing Power and Potential, my loves. I hope you have all had a fabulous week. Honestly, I've just been working my day job, coming home, gymming, working behind the scenes in the business, editing the podcast at the moment as my editor has just taken some time off with health and life happening. So if we can all just send her some love. But yeah, life's been busy, life's been good. And we have actually a guest booked for the new year, so that's very exciting. And yeah, I'm going to actually be featured on a couple of episodes that I've got planned for the new year on a few of those shows, so I'll definitely let you know when they're out. And let's waste no more time and get into the episode for today. So today I want to talk about the evolution of human consciousness and the rise of the new earth is what people are calling it. I know when I started my own journey like a couple of years ago, I really got deep into researching about the new earth and consciousness and expanding my own consciousness. So I'm going to get into what that all means in this episode and how it is rising, because something is changing, not outside of us, but within us. We're waking up from the trance of who we were told to be. And it's not just about personal growth, but this is like a collective shift in human consciousness. Have you felt like in the world, you can feel like a shift happening, but you can't quite put your finger on it? Personally, I think that the world is going to be so different in these next couple of years. When I was in Melbourne, for some reason, it just kept coming to me. I kept saying it was like an inner knowing that in about 5 years, the world was going to be completely different. It's like an inner knowing that I have. And then what do you know? Everyone starts talking about the new earth and manifestation and like a whole new way of being, really. We are stepping out from the conditioning that we've had growing up from older generations, and we are shaping the world into something new. So that's pretty much what I see the new earth as, is it's like an awakening for the collective. Instead of, working from fear and conforming, we are being creative and we are actually going out and working on our own projects and being entrepreneurs and creating our lives instead of letting our lives be run for us from hierarchies. And instead of, climbing the corporate ladder, there's a trend of people actually leaving their corporate jobs and leaving the jobs that they've studied for a long time to actually go out on their own and do their own thing and be authentic instead of getting a job to fit into society's expectations. We're creating our own paths. We're moving from working from survival, the 9 to 5, working for someone else and slaving your life away. And I'm not saying all 9 to 5s are like that. I work a 9 to 5 job, but I'm just saying as a broad example, we're moving from survival and working for someone else forever, not having any savings, not having any, retirement's what, 65 or 75 now, to living in purpose, to creating your life, whether it's creating your own personal brand so you have time freedom. The new earth isn't a place, it is a state of awareness that is spreading through more and more people. And the more that we expand our consciousness, it expands the consciousness of the greater collective. Because I'm going to get a little woo-woo, if you want to call it now, but what I believe from all the research that I have done on my journey is that we are all source. We are all an infinite source. So when they say God or the universe, we are all that. We are all just a ball of energy, but we're all vibrating at specific different frequencies that make us our unique person, our unique selves. But at our core, we are a source. So we are all one. Now, as we spread the awareness and expand our consciousness, it expands collectively, and it will keep expanding and expanding until eventually we are living in a quote unquote new earth where we are all awake and conscious, living lives in our own purpose, living authentically, living individualities instead of hierarchies and climbing social ladders or corporate ladders or authorities. And instead, we are all individual beings vibrating at frequencies that make us who we are. And I believe this is why we are having so much more entrepreneurs now, because if you think about it, AI, artificial intelligence that has come out, what I have heard is, don't quote me, like this is just from what I've heard and when I'm doing research, is that within 3 to 5 years, AI will have taken over completely pretty much everyone's jobs. So if you haven't created your own personal brand or your own business that AI can't take away from you, because you're still you. AI can never be you as a brand, as a person. So if you haven't created something for yourself, they say that AI will have taken over everyone's jobs. So that's just something that I have found interesting. Obviously, I am, on my journey, creating my own personal brand, creating digital programs for people, one-on-one coaching. So I guess I feel like, I am not ahead of the times, but I'm at a good place where I guess I know I've got my own back in this evolution that we are facing at the moment. And it's nothing to be scared of, I don't want you to fear the new earth. This is actually a beautiful thing. And I believe this is why, okay, I'm going on a tangent right now, but all the things in Hollywood, have you noticed, have been coming out for the past few years now. Anything with the Diddy situation and just a lot of things coming out in the open that have been secrets and buried for years. Because what they say with this new earth is the darkness is coming to light. So all of that sort of evil, I guess, energy that is curating right under our noses has sort of been transmuted into light. This is where everyone is coming out with, for example, the Diddy things or the Epstein or whatever's been happening under the surface has been coming out and has been brought to light. So now what I have noticed is this new generation of celebrities in Hollywood, and they're all like love and peace. And I know SZA was actually doing a healing sound bowl in one of her live shows. And that's like a spiritual practice where you use sound, which is a frequency, because everything is vibrating at a specific frequency, to heal the collective. And in that case, the collective of her audience And that went onto social media, expanding the consciousness and healing the greater consciousness through the power of social media as well. So that's just another interesting factor of what I've seen personally with the expansion of consciousness and this new earth that is forming around us. So our parents' generation generally is, formed around security, stability, and doing what's expected. Working the 9 to 5, working hard for your money and working until retirement because that was the normal. That was what was praised, of course. And I praise my parents. I know that I do. I look up to my parents and my grandparents for the hard work that I know that they have done for their whole lives. But millennials and Gen Zs, I believe, are changing the world. And I know when I speak to my dad, about the different mindset shifts and energy of money and different things, it's just not something that the older generation is really used to have heard of. But with the power of social media, these are, I guess, trends, and we are learning a new way of life. But honestly, I don't think this is a new way. I think this is the natural way to live. The societies and the systems were created to keep people small, to keep people being sheep, like employees, because world would be chaotic without the systems. And I get that. We need the workers, we need the bosses, we need the employers, we need the authority. It all makes the world work at a level that is not too chaotic. But as we are coming into the new earth, those systems are changing, and we're seeing micro entrepreneurship, creators, coaches, intuitive business owners. So our generation is questioning the norms and, breaking these templates that we have always known. And when I said the natural way of living, I believe that the higher up people, the higher up on the hierarchy, the leaders of the world leaders and the elite people, the 1%ers, they know about this stuff. This is why they are at the top, because they are conscious, they are awake. And it hasn't been shown to the normal average people because it keeps them working for the leaders. If you don't know, then you're going to do what you've been told to do all your life and you're not going to question it. But our generation is. We are questioning this because with the research that has been done around even neuroscience and the power of the mind and being able to consciously create your life instead of living from the expectation of our parents and of society and of our older generations, we are literally breaking these patterns, and there's a rise of spiritual self-awareness with shadow work and healing, embodiment of doing these new earth spiritual practices, nervous system work, individual identity, and rewiring our subconscious patterns, our subconscious beliefs, and generational healing. So we are healing our ancestors and parents in this, but we are also healing ourselves for our future generations that are to come from us. And then there's, a lot of new spiritual technologies that are around, or I guess not new, but unheard of, and now they are coming back. Because what I believe is when you expand your consciousness, you're not being someone new, you're coming back to your core. You're coming back to your natural state. And that's why there is, have you heard of Reiki and healers and more perspectives and possibilities for life in this new earth? This is why so many people are becoming entrepreneurs, because people are no longer wanting to trade their lives for a paycheck. They have a desire now to create impact for the greater collective and the world, not just to have an income to provide and survive. There's a pull towards alignment for creators and entrepreneurs, being in alignment with our true purpose, what we are here on this earth to do. not duty and not for working for someone else all of our lives. That's why there has been, the rise with personal brands, humans wanting to be seen as individuals, not working behind the faces of the big leaders or the big companies. That's what happened to me when I had my spiritual awakening, because that's what this is. This whole new earth, this whole entrepreneurship, everything, it's a spiritual way of being. We are spiritual beings that are just vibrating at a specific frequency in a physical body, but our soul is our spirit. And I believe that we all have a purpose to come down on this earth at this time to do. And when you do, have a spiritual awakening, that's when you realize I can build my own path. You don't have to be someone that the world tells you to be. And it takes practice, and it can be a lonely journey because you have to unlearn everything that you know about yourself and the world around you and rediscover who you are, rediscover your purpose and what life actually means for you. And you may be able to feel this yourself, but you just can't describe what's happening. You see the systems breaking, education systems, corporate or relationships breaking potentially. In the education system, I personally think that it is definitely helpful and necessary for character building and to be social and build relationships and obviously learn the basics. But I feel like it's like a setup to just put you straight into the system as well, to be an employee. It doesn't actually teach you how to be yourself. It doesn't teach you the energetics of money, everything that we need to create a life with purpose. It doesn't teach. It teaches you how to be an employee. And that's why you do see a lot of people now that are on different journeys of spirituality and individuality are actually homeschooling their children, taking them out of the systems, letting them connect with nature instead, and being a human at its core. And I just love that. And there's becoming the fall of, the one size fits all sort of life paths. And everyone is creating life on their own terms. Well, not everyone, but I'm saying this in present tense because I believe that this is what is the evolution, what is to be. People are rejecting the hustle culture, perfectionism, and burnout, and we're actually focusing on resetting our nervous systems. Resting is productive now, whereas I know even my nana's generation, you don't rest. You're lazy if you do. So we're really breaking these patterns and learning what it truly means to be human and living a purposeful human experience, living for ourselves and not for the demands of society or the expectations of the hierarchy and the leaders of the world, and being who we want to be. And that doesn't mean being lazy and not wanting to do anything with your life and being a bum. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that we are being intentional with our lives. And we can see this from examples like people are quitting their stable jobs and going into the online coaching industry. I know a few girls in my online masterminds with my business coach. I'm in a group of girls and they are all leaving being lawyers and big time jobs to go out and do something on their own that is in line with their purpose. It could be moving cities. That's when I had my spiritual awakening, when I moved from my hometown. People are starting personal brands and choosing freedom over fitting in. So what I like to look at is individuality as the new currency. And being yourself is actually an advantage now. Whereas in times we have worn masks and covered up who we actually are at our core because we don't think that that's good enough. But now authenticity attracts opportunity instead of hiding behind big leaders and big faces or companies. Now your unique story becomes your leverage. And identity work is actually business work. I know I set out a time every week to work on my personal inner self, my identity work that I do, figuring out who I am at my core, going through some limiting beliefs that I have, or whatever it is on the week that I need to do. And that is part of my work for my business, because I need to be the best version that I am, vibrating at the highest frequency and being the most authentic person I can be for my business to thrive. So basically, conscious entrepreneurship is made up of purpose, energy, and creativity. This shift may feel uncomfortable for you, and that is normal. It's an emotional transformation if you think about it, because all of our old identities are dying, and that causes discomfort. It causes friction and fear of the unknown. For example, nervous system rewiring, from confusion, not knowing who we are at our core, to expanded self-awareness when we really dive deep into the inner work. Because remember that we're not just all going to become a part of this new earth and we're all going to be consciously and expanded. Like, that's not how it works. We have to do the work. And this is why there are so many people on social media spreading this message, because the more people that are doing it, the more and more and more people are expanding and, I guess, believing it. But this may cause some shadows to resurface, because we are becoming more conscious of our unconscious patterns. If that doesn't make sense, go and listen to my episode 2 weeks ago, all about our unconscious selves and our patterns that are controlling our life. You may be feeling like you are outgrowing your old life, but that's a good thing. That means that we are creating space to create the lives that actually are meaningful to us, that have purpose, that we wake up to and actually feel excited for, not waking up dreading your every day at work, working under someone else and getting the drips of what they're making. And then, of course, our relationships would be shifting in our lives. I know how much mine have. Over this past couple of years, there has been so many people that have left my life easily too, because once your vibration starts rising, once you start consciously creating your life and embodying the highest version of yourself, people that aren't in alignment with that will fall away. But that only creates energetic space for the people that are in alignment with your higher vibration to come in. And that won't happen straight away. I'm actually in a limbo place, I guess, right now, where pretty much everyone that I had and my old identity isn't in my life anymore. I have very limited friends at the moment, but that's okay, because I don't want friends that aren't in alignment with who I am now anyway. So if you feel like you're in a sort of lost space at the moment, or you feel like things are starting to fall away and crumble apart, let it. The worst thing that you can do for your evolution is try to hold things and keep things close to you that aren't meant to be in your life anymore. Remember, I think that everything comes and goes in seasons of our lives. People are meant to be there for seasons, and then we outgrow that and we move on to the next chapter, to the next level. So that's how you should think about your life, and try not to hold on and control things, and be in the flow of your life. Let things happen for you. You weren't born to fit inside a system. You were born to evolve beyond it. And I believe that we are in the greatest time on earth right now to be alive, to be able to create our lives with intention and purpose. And it's so exciting. I'm freaking excited for the future and to see what sort of world that we are going to be living in, with so many conscious creators and expansion within the collective that I'm excited. And it's moving from greed and fear to love and light. And I'm so here for it. The new earth isn't coming, it's already here. And you're living it every time that you make a choice that aligns with your truth. So remember who the fuck you are and be the proof that this new consciousness is emerging. Do the inner work, live your life with purpose, and live it for you. I love you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know that you loved it. Leave a comment down below, send me a DM, and share it to your Instagram stories, and of course, to your friends and family. Text it to your mom, to your bestie, and keep expanding the consciousness of the collective through spreading this message. How exciting! Good times ahead. I know that 2026 energetically is going to be such a good freaking year. Anyone here remember 2016? Well, that's going to be the vibe. And if you know how good that year was. For some reason, we are still all talking about it. So go and live your best life. Be the best version of yourself. And I love you. And we will speak in the next episode next week. Love you. Bye for now.